through those ears. And that's his real strength. We can always rely on him, in the heat of the moment to just do the right thing.
Christian, let's throw it forward. I think you're 29 behind Ferrari at the moment, who in turn are 24 behind McLaren in the constructors. What's the aim for the end of the season on that front? I mean, obviously to finish as high as you can. Yeah. And then next year, the challenge of next year, I suppose, is what I want to move it on to, because it looks on the evidence of the second half of this season like it could be absolutely epic.
Well, look, I mean, we've got a mountain to climb in the constructors, but we'll never give up. And Max obviously has been brilliant so far this year. We need Checo to get on the scoreboard a little more over these last couple of races to have any chance. But of course, then looking further ahead into next year, there's 4 teams that are going to be very hotly contesting this championship, and I just want to pay credit to GP as well and his team of engineers. They've been outstanding this year. It's been tough. There's been a huge amount going on, and week in, week out, they're putting the effort in, and he couldn't do it without the support that he's had within the garage, within the team, within the factory. And GP takes a bit of flack on occasion. He gives as good as he gets.
He's too right.
But he's it's that relationship between driver and engineer and team that enables you to achieve these kind of results. So we're incredibly proud of him and incredibly proud of the team.
I was going to say, wider role for you next year, isn't it, GP? Is there a little bit of an expanded role or anything like that? What can you tell us on that?
He's doing a bit more than GP, so he's stepping. Obviously, we've got a couple of levers. Jonathan leaving to Sauber, so that GP takes a step up, but he's still going to be the man on the phone to Max, so he's just got a bit more to do.
Cracking the whip. There you go. Where's the party?
Max is saying there's something at the Cosmopolitan Hotel,
okay,
but also at the Omnia if you want to go.
Yeah, we have.
He's got to go.
Is that an invite? Is that an invite? There we go. The whole of Las Vegas will be turning up there. Well done, GP. You just gave it away. We'll let you go and enjoy it. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There we go. So Max Verstappen is a 4-time world champion.
Max, many congratulations. Now a 4-time world champion. How does it feel right now?
It feels, of course, great. I mean, it's been a very long season, many races, many good races, but also many tough races, and it was all about just optimizing, trying sometimes, of course, to limit the damage. But at the end of the day, just very proud of what we have achieved.
You've always been pretty confident and let's say optimistic in this pen, but was it ever in doubt in your mind?
I mean, I never really liked to believe so, of course, but of course at times it looked very tough. I didn't want to give up at all. That's not how I am anyway. But at times, it was not easy with the car. Clear lack of pace in places, but we still always managed to get the best result out of it, or sometimes even more than what we deserved. But at the end of the day, most of the time, you create your own luck, and I think that's what we also did most of the time.
Does it mean more because of everything you've been dealing with this year, with the car and with everything else going on? Does it mean more?
Every championship is different. I think last year is still my favorite one, even though I think sometimes people didn't appreciate it enough of what we did achieve. Winning 10 in a row. Of course, we had a dominant car, but I don't think it was as dominant as people think it was. But this one also definitely means a lot of how we handled everything.
So is Red Bull then the place for you long term now? There's been so many rumours all year. Does this, I guess right now standing here, you don't want to leave, ever?
I mean, for me, I'm just very proud to be part of the team, and we are now celebrating our 4th world title together, so there's definitely nothing on my mind, nothing else on my mind.
Enjoy the party tonight. Thanks, Max.
I mean, it seems like an age ago, doesn't it? But when we were in the first couple of races of the season, and everything that was going on off track was kicking off, it looked like, oh wow, this is a very, very difficult start to the season. That then moved into, as we were saying, Adrian Newey leaving. They've had to deal with an awful lot, that team, this year, and it did tail off for them, but they clung on in the second half of the season. I mean, Max was saying there he preferred last year. I'm not surprised because he was utterly dominant.
It was 18 races.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I suppose what do you make of the manner in which they've won it this year, or with all that taken into account?
Well, this is kind of like more of a normal way of winning a world championship. You know, last year was extreme, and it will go down in history in terms of the amount of wins that they had. But when the year started in Bahrain,
they were a fractured team at that point.
Yeah, they were. But already we were like, oh, they go out on track and they're half a second quicker than anyone. I thought it's going to be a walk in the park again for them, and it was for a few races. And then obviously off track there was a lot for us to talk about, and a bit of a fractured team. Yes, Adrian Newey leaving is a big deal. Whether it has effect this year, I don't think so. But it was kind of spiraling. But when you watch Max on track, for me, he seemed very calm in trying to get as many points as he could every race, not getting stressed by not having the quickest car. He kind of put it into his head, got it into his head, I'm not going to win another race. I'm just going to do the best I can every race. And I think the last race just, wow, knocked out of the park and got that win, and that's what finalised it.
When his father and Christian were obviously having all, you know, the arguments and the feud that they were having at that time, it did seem to us that were watching from the media that actually Max was the one keeping the sensible head at that point, and he was the one that was able to absolutely compartmentalise everything that was going on and focus on what he needed to do on the track. What does that say about the measure of the man as a driver?
Well, that in particular, the good thing is as a driver is that usually is all you have to deal with. Everybody else handles the rest of everything going on, the drama, and you get to focus as a driver. Now, it doesn't mean it's completely easy to do that, but that is your only job. So I feel like a lot of that, you can't necessarily control what everyone else does, what they say, and it might not always have a direct, huge effect on you. So getting on with the job as a driver, that's your focus. I think what we saw this year was such a demonstration of leadership, talent, and will. You know, for him, I mean, you just look at the gap now between him and Checo, right? Like, and they were so much closer in years past, right? And that has only grown. And so he was able to take a car that was winning to not winning, struggling a lot, and then coming back and having a performance like last race in Brazil, which a little unique because it's rain and it's a very extra special skill set amongst many for him. But I think, and we can't count him out for winning it at these last couple races possibly either. I'm sure that would be really sweet for him to cap the year off like that. But I think it really just shows his maturity and leadership and his ability to just get more out of the car than most.
Okay, shame for Adrian Newey that he's not here, you know, being a big part of it, but obviously having left the team, you know, he's moved on to other pastures, and Christian and the rest of the team, you know, it pains to say that the rest of the technical guys, Pierre Vacher, for example, were so hugely important with the development of this car. But I just wonder as well, had Adrian been around, whether he might have been able to have helped iron out a few of the problems that they're having going down a different development route, or
Definitely.
the wrong development route.
And I think that's, you know, it's not all down to Adrian, how they built these cars and the aerodynamics, but I think he was very good at the fine detail. And that's probably what they've lost with Adrian walking away. He could take a step back and they would do most of the aerodynamics, and he can pinpoint certain things like, no, that needs to be slightly better. So I think they are missing that. I think, just want to go back to Max a little bit, because all of that, what's happening off track, is always difficult for a driver. But having a family member involved in that as well, I think mentally it's really difficult. And I think that shows the strength of Max to be able to deal with that, because most racing drivers would struggle and it would affect their performance.
Hi, Karun. You snuck in, stage left there.
I did.
But yeah, I'd love to know what you think about that. We were just discussing, you know, how fractured the team was at the start, how they pulled it together, and Max being able to concentrate on his sole job, which is driving the car and doing it to the best of his ability, particularly when the car's not been as strong in the second half of the season.
That's been the most impressive part, isn't it? You know, if you look at it, since Miami, when McLaren introduced the update, they haven't had the quickest car, Red Bull. And, you know, Max led the championship going into Miami by 52 points, and then he's extended that gap. And to me, it's actually the weekends like Singapore, Zandvoort, you know, Barcelona as well. I don't think they had the fastest car. Yet he got those podiums, got the win in Barcelona. Obviously, Brazil is recent in our memory, but Canada is another one. You know, McLaren should have won that race. And Silverstone, you know, just getting those podiums, those were the key elements to getting this championship done and dusted.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's hear from Lando Norris. I think we'll go straight to him now, because he picked up the fastest lap, finished in 6th, but obviously the constructors still very much alive and going to go down to the wire.
Lando, how are you feeling right now? I wonder if it's almost a relief that you can not talk about the championship anymore and put that to bed?
Thank
or?
God. No, I mean, I'll start by saying a congrats to Max. As much as it hurts a little bit. No, I mean, saying congrats to him doesn't hurt, but from knowing the championship's 100% over, like, you always have the little hope inside. But he drove an incredible season, you know. When he had the quickest car, he dominated. When he didn't, he was still there and always on my heels, you know. So he made my life tough. We made his tough at times, I'm sure. But he drove a better season, and of course a big congrats to him. So yeah, that's the main thing. The race was just pretty pants. Bad pace, bad grip, bad tyre management. Just a poor weekend from us.
Is the rear wing that you had to change, is that a big effect? I mean, much has been talked about it.
Everyone wants to say whatever they want, but they can all believe their own BS that they tell themselves. Made a very small amount of difference, a lot less than what everyone thinks. It gained us a lot less than what everyone thinks. It's got nothing to do with that.
I wanted to ask, did you find this title fight harder than you would have expected it to be? Did you find it?
I didn't even expect to be in a title fight. So.
But that's what I mean. So if you ever imagined being in a title fight, was it what you thought? Was it?
I think I was happy with how just calm I was and how focused I was. There's definitely more pressure. There's more eyes. There's more nerves. There's more demand on me, making sure I go out and don't mess up a quality lap. Don't make a mistake in the race. Stay in the race. Don't get taken out. You have to drive better when you get to that point, and I feel like I have. You know, I feel like really since Zandvoort, I feel like I've done close to a perfect job. Always things I could have improved on, and I need to improve on, as always. But I feel like I've done a very good job, especially the second half of the season. You know, the first half, we were like suddenly, we're fighting them, and like I said in another interview, I don't think I was or we were as a team mentally ready to be like, now we have to fight against the big boys and execute perfectly. And as much as we would like to believe we were ready, we won, and we paid the price a little bit. But also, it was us that was there fighting Max, no one else. You know, we started the season off worse than the top 4 teams. You know, we were the slowest of the top 4, and we've ended up being the most consistent and probably the best team. So I'm more proud than anything else. I don't regret anything. You'll always have those things I'm like, I should have done this maybe a bit differently, but not something I regret, because I don't think even if it was a perfect year on my behalf, we could have won the championship this year. I think Max drove too well. Red Bull and the team did too good of a job for us. And it was just lost in the first 6 races. We just, you know, the points gap was what it is now, was already after 6 races. We caught up. It fluctuated a bit, but we could just never claw it back from there. So still happy that it was us, and we put up a good fight. And I look forward to next year being in there from the beginning.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Well, I guess that's the point. That's a nice moment. We know that they're good friends, but Lando admitting there that they weren't ready for it as a team. And I think, but for the fact that Max had got off for that fast start, he obviously would have gone a lot deeper than this. So, I mean, what do you say about that? What will they have learned? What will Lando specifically, Jensen, have learned from going toe-to-toe with Max in the latter part of that season, and what can he take into next year's championship fight?
Yeah, I mean, he said he feels proud, and he should feel proud. You know, this is the first opportunity he's had to fight for the world championship in Formula One. You know, up against a 3-time world champion. It's an amazing position to find yourself in, and I think he's shown his speed, his class this year. Going up against Max on track is always very difficult for any driver, and I think it might have affected him a little bit of how aggressive Max is, and Max drives different to anyone else on the grid. And when he learns that, which he might have done already, and then comes back and fights him, we're going to see a different Lando Norris, I think, as well.
I think, you know, it's hard to remember this, but he won his first race this year. You know, before this, they weren't in a position to win races. Okay, that's Sochi on a wet day, he was in contention. But actually, this is his first chance to have even fought for race victories, let alone the championship. So he's done a great job this season. I think, you know, he's been the team leader. He's done a great job. The drive in Zandvoort in particular was amazing, that dominant win there. Did he lose the championship because of those races where he lost out on the first lap and those ones we've talked about? No, I come back to the point that the bulk of the championship was lost in those first 5 weekends. We have to remember, Simon, actually, they finished last year, McLaren, being super strong, and they didn't carry that over. So what's going to happen this winter? Can they carry this over into next year? That's a big question.
Well, they've changed a lot of processes, haven't they? And you wonder, I mean, it sounds like they've got everything spot on at the factory. Things are correlating now and turning out on track right. But what actually, when you look ahead to next year, and we can't get too excited too early, but let's think about this now. You've got Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari, a multiple world champion, one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. Max Verstappen, a 4-time world champion. And then you've got 4 teams in it, right? We're going to learn a lot, are we not, about some of the younger drivers or some of those earlier in their career when they're going up against the experience of these guys that have won championships and actually have an opportunity potentially to win the championship themselves. It's going to separate the men from the boys, is what I'm saying.
Well, I'm curious when the competition has been this good in Formula One, having this many cars be able to go out there and win races. I think it's one of the most competitive times that I can remember, and that pushes drivers to be better and better and better all year long, all off season. You get your teammate is pushing you so hard. There's no laying back. You know, a lot of times in Formula One there can be 1 or 2 teams, one team a lot of times, as we've seen the last couple of years with Red Bull, that just stands ahead. And now they've got to bring that A game every weekend. And I think the drivers are. I mean, that's kind of I think what Orlando is alluding to, is that we have to be perfect. We have to execute at such a high level every single weekend, and we weren't really ready. Now, I don't know. I think they were ready enough to win, obviously. Both of him and Oscar were. But there's a next level when you're taking that to a championship. And so I think that all the games are going to be elevated. I think next year is going to be incredible.
The championship this year for Max was a bit like your 2009 years. No, the donkey work was done in the early part, and then he's going from there. But it is unprecedented. We've never had a championship where 4 teams have had a 1-2 finish, right? And it is absolutely unprecedented in F1 history.
And first season with 7 multiple winners.
Yeah, it is. So you're absolutely right. I think we're all super excited to get to Melbourne and see if they carry on from here. Because Ferrari, I think, have got momentum. I think if you look since the summer break, and both drivers are driving well, but they've got momentum. Lewis has made that move. Mercedes won here this weekend, but it's been a weird weekend with conditions. And it's funny, just talking to some of the engineers, they go, we were the quickest, but we're not entirely sure why. So
that's
there's a lot of
15 for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, listen, I think we're all pumped for next year, aren't we?
I think when we get to Qatar, and if Mercedes are competitive there, you go, well, it's kind of working on a different type of circuit. But it's not like something changed massively with the car coming here, so it's strange. Qatar is a lot faster, even though it's going to be cool conditions, not quite as cool as this. It's a fast-flowing track, so it'll be interesting to see what car works around there.
Yeah, that'll be cool. It was very, very hot last year. Let's hear from Andrea Stella.
Well, Andrea, it's a nice thing about Formula One that, you know, teams fight like it's the only thing that matters on earth between each other for a world championship. And when one guy wins it, the first thing that the team who doesn't win it wants to do is congratulate Max, and I'm sure you're no different.
Yeah, 100%. To be honest, we congratulated with Max even when he was winning races, like in Brazil. Is you know, fair play to a great champion, fair play to one of the best drivers in the history of Formula One, fast, consistent, even when he was winning races after races last year, and people thought it was easy. It's not easy to win races, even when it looks easy. So really, hats off to Verstappen. Well done to Red Bull in supporting this incredible driver. And let me say that we are proud that we were challenging him this season. We just lost a bit too many points at the start of the season, but then we were there with Verstappen's pace, which is hopefully just a preparation work for a new challenge that we want to open next season on the driver's side. But in 2024, well done to Max, really deserved. The best driver won the championship, and yeah, we look forward to next year from this point of view. But the Constructor Championship is open, and now our focus will be there.
Okay, and how is that looking, considering today's result? You just didn't have quite the pace in the car.
Well, in fairness, coming to Vegas, we expected to be a bit of a struggle. This concern materialized in qualifying, in the race. In the first two stints, we were just fighting from graining, and there was no way that we could stop this phenomenon to happen. In the final stint, a combination of various things, including also some changes quite extreme that we did with some toys on the car and driving style. The graining didn't happen on Lando's car, and the pace was as fast as the leaders. So I think there's not only the fact that we could damage limit, but also important learning for us as a team in terms of how we cope with this phenomenon and with these conditions. Overall, we lost points to Ferrari, but I would almost call it a damage limitation, considering that we now go to two venues that should be more comfortable ground for our car. But when you have a Mercedes performing like this, Ferrari at this level, Red Bull is never comfortable. So we know that the job is not finished. We know that there's hard work ahead of us. We go to the last two races fully focused, and we know that we have a job to finish.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you very much for talking to us. You brought this championship to life with the speed of your car and the speed of Oscar and Lando as well. So we look forward to seeing how the Constructors' Championship goes the next two.
Yeah, we do as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Felt like we were watching a bit of vintage Lewis today. How much does that mean to you to come back? And is there almost a sense of what if as well? Because if qualifying had gone better yesterday,
no, I don't look at it that way. I'm just looking forwards. Felt great to move forwards today. I'm really happy.
The car you had today, I mean, I was asking George about it. Is this positive signs that the team understand the car better now? It's been a bit of a confusing one.
I don't think the team understand why we're as fast as we are. But the car was really great today, and it's really a great showing. The guys did an amazing job in the pit stops. For us to be able to get a 1-2 is just amazing. And I'm just grateful I was able to recover, obviously, all the lost positions. And if I had done the job I should have done yesterday, it would have been a bit of an easier race. But I enjoyed coming from there. It just reminded me of like when I was a kid, the right house, just overtaking people.
Just going to get a final word on Max securing his fourth world title today.
Yeah, big congrats to Max and to his team. They've done an amazing job the past 4 years, and they've been the best. And he hasn't made any mistakes, so well deserved.
For the season you've had, I mean, that's more win, another win, so that's 4 for the season, is it not? But congratulations, it must feel still very nice to have a 1-2.
Yeah, it feels really nice if one would understand these cars.
Yeah.
Because today we really crushed everyone. Dominant, we could have gone easily faster, we're at times 2 seconds quicker than everybody else. And I'm really happy, the team deserves it. We've worked so hard in Brackley and in Brixworth and here on the race team, so that's a great day.
So is that to suggest that you don't really understand how you've managed to do a 1-2 yourself?
No, we do. I think it's just when you design a car and you put it on track, generally, you try to have it good at every track, and we seem to be very good when it's high speed and when it's a bit on the chillier side with less grip, and that is something we can be proud about. But when it's getting hot, that is where the car is not performing so well.
Lewis had a great fight with Max on his way to P2. Just a word on Lewis's race and George, and I'm sure he wants to congratulate Max on being a 4-time world champion now.
Yeah, for Max, obviously that's great. Deserving champion with the first half of the season. It was great. George's driving was just from another planet. He's kept that under control and managed it all the time. I think the defending against Leclerc was spectacular. And Lewis came from P10 with a super strong car, finishing just 5 seconds behind George. Chapeau.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Toto. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a good drive from Lewis, who has just turned up for the team photo, as has George's other half. And there we are. We're just waiting for the man himself, who was clearly on cloud 9 after winning in Vegas. As I mentioned, it was his only his 4th Grand Prix victory. but he picked up his 4th pole position as well, and that is a team that sometimes you just wonder about this car. As I said, it's been so enigmatic. Even Toto was pointing it out there, Jensen. It's one of those you just don't know from week to week. We've said it all year, and that has just been an issue that they're going to have to iron out ahead of next year if they want to consider themselves in what we're hoping will be a 4-way fight for the title as we get a face full of champagne.
Yeah, you're right. They are going to have to work it out. They're going to celebrate this now. It's an amazing achievement. A 1-2 finish in how competitive this championship is. But, yeah, I mean, 2 races to go. They'll be trying to understand a lot more before the 2025 season starts.
It's equally important to understand why you're quick as it is to understand why you're slow. Because otherwise you can't get the level of consistency. And with the 24-race calendar across such a variety of circuits and conditions, you have to have a deep understanding of the car.
Absolutely. I mean, that's case in point. That's the issue now. As you said, it's such a long season, such varied conditions. We're going to colder places as well as ultra-warm places. Some with slower corners, some with quicker corners.
You know, the thing about the season is it keeps coming. It keeps coming at you. And everybody's making their where you start, it's very hard to overcome true deficits. And especially when we're talking about, clearly there might be something fundamentally wrong or obviously misunderstood or not understood about the car. I feel like this off season is probably going to be a very good time for them to be able to regroup and really try and understand what's going on. It's just so difficult to do during the season, so it has to feel so sweet for them, even though they're a little confused how this all came together, other than some cooler temperatures being a common denominator. It's got to feel so good. And of course, maybe right there for George, a little bit cold, because it's a cold night in Las Vegas.
Sticky hair.
There he is.
Sticky hair. Oh, yeah, very sticky hair. Congratulations. You still on cloud 9? Looks like
it feels so good, because this season it just felt like every time we had the pace, there were just so many curveballs thrown at us. You know, last week in Brazil, leading the red flag, Montreal starting on pole, car was quick, rain, dry, rain, Belgium disqualified, and it's like, when are we going to get just a smidge of fortune? And that whole race, I was waiting for something to happen, and it just never came. So I just oh, I look a mess. Jesus.
You're fine. You're looking fine.
All right. So,
you're a race winner. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
You can look any way you want. I mean, just obviously, like you said, there have been times where you're going to get the win. There have been times where you guys have been really fast and then lost it. When the car feels right and it's good, like a night like tonight, and I'm assuming it felt all right. Yeah, just describe that. Describe that potential.
I mean, when the car's in the right window, it's on rails. I think it's no secret that we've been struggling a bit with the ride. So on the bumpy tracks, you got to lift the car, you've got to go softer with the car, and then we're just totally out of our downforce window. When we can get the car low and we can get it quite stiff, we're flying. So, you know, we need to broaden that window, and that's why you've seen these big fluctuations. It's not like we just suddenly forgot how to set the car up. It's just because certain tracks force us to put it in a window we don't want to be.
But George, we're coming towards the end of the season. Lots of focus, I'm sure, next year. But what's going on back at base? Like, how are you working with the team to open up that window? Because we were just saying, with 24 races, now we've got such a variety of circuits and temperatures, night races, day races. How are you working back at base to open that window? So when we get to Melbourne next year, you're in a competitive place.
I can't tell you those secrets. They might be the secrets that we need, but you know, there's a number of factors that we realise we made some small errors with this car, and we're making some changes into next year, which I'm confident will be a step in the right direction. We obviously don't know what our competitors will do, and obviously come January the 1st, you know, there's going to be a huge amount of focus on 26, which is a bit of a strange feeling, you know, for me as a driver, because, you know, you just want to be putting all your focus into the short term, but you know, we also don't want to fall behind come 26, and even though it's 13 months away, it all starts come January.
I'm going to bring it back to this race because I'm still just amazed by how perfect the race was for you. Starting pole position.
That means a lot from you, JB.
No, but it was. The start was just like you just drove away from everyone.
Yeah.
And then a few laps later, there's no one in your mirrors. What goes through your head in that moment in time for the next 45 laps?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that first stint was so good, that's what made the difference. And then I knew the only way we were going to lose this race is if I started graining the tyres. So I was managing a lot in the key areas. And even that last stint, Lewis was closing in 2-3 tenths a lap. And I'm thinking, the only place he was gaining on me were in the corners I was managing my tyres. So, I still knew at that rate he wasn't going to catch me. And the risk, for me to do it, was a little bit too high. So, I had it kind of under control.
Would it be fair to say, George, that you're entering the next phase of your career going into next season? Obviously, you've been in a team with Lewis for the last few now, and you've got a young teammate coming in the form of Kimi Antonelli. Will you be expecting to be the team leader and the one really driving the team forward? And how will that change your attitude, or how's that going to affect you?
Kimi's a kid, but he's very mature when it comes to racing. Like, he knows his stuff, and it's going to be a different, it's going to be a fresh start for all of us. And I think that's going to be so good, even for Lewis. I think these 3 years, it's been tough for all of us, and we all need that change. I think he needs that change. We need the change. Bringing Kimi in, he's going to have fresh energy. He's going to keep me on my toes because he's blooming fast. And come the first race, he'd have probably done the most amount of testing of any rookie ever. But I feel confident. I've had a 7-time world champion as my teammate for the last 3 years, so I'm feeling good.
You've alluded to kind of knowing what the problems are, and that this off-season you'll be able to get more of a grip on them when you have time. It's more competitive than it's ever been. Do you think that you'll be able to maybe not only be in the mix but be a top team if you accomplish that? Because you guys are very fast when you're fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I honestly can't tell you, because when we had those races in the middle of the season, we were like, we're back and we're in the fight, and then it all just went away from us. And now, obviously, we're saying this is brilliant, but the car's the same as it was in Brazil. Obviously, we had a great qualifying in the wet and in the wet race, but on the sprint race, we were half a second behind, and that's with the exact same car as we have today. So, yeah, as I said, we're just riding this wave now.
Okay, we found out where the Red Bull party. Where is the George Russell party this evening?
I don't know. I asked JB, because he's a pretty keen, pretty good at these parties. So
he is.
He needs to teach me what to do. So
he has been awful.
I've not actually been out this whole year, whole season. So I feel now is the time to do it. Cheers, guys.
Well done, George. Well done. Appreciate it.
Would you say that staying out an extra lap cost you P2 today when the crew weren't ready?
We were ahead of Lewis before that pit stop, and it had been already a couple of laps that I was asking to pit, so it meant that I think we lost quite a lot of race time. At the same time, there was this situation where I had to let by Charles. I lost a lot of time there, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not happy about that. But at the same time, I think Mercedes was just simply the quicker car today, and maybe, probably, one way or another, they would have beaten us today. Podium and P4, I think, was the maximum today. What I'm not happy is obviously the execution of the race. I think we can do a lot better than that, but it's what it is.
Both of you sounded quite frustrated on the radio. Is there a lot of discussion that needs to be had after this race?
Not from my side. I don't like using the radio to complain or to do anything. I don't like using the media to criticize or to demonstrate or to prove if I'm happy or not. I prefer to do that behind closed doors, because there's never good outcomes from these kind of comments on the media, but obviously I'm the first one that I'm not happy, and I was the first one trying to get out of the way by pitting and getting out of the way. But the whole situation was a bit messy, and I'm the first one that is not happy, but this is what it is.
Can I just get a word from you on Max securing his 4th driver's title today?
Congratulations. He's been driving in an incredible level for the last 4 years, and I think today, this year, he used a car that was completely dominant at the beginning to get a good amount of points in the championship, and then he managed very well not having the fastest car and having a more difficult car in the second half of the year. So very fair play to him, and congrats.
Thank you. Thanks. More opportunity today, maybe if you hadn't pushed quite so hard behind George at the start, or was that always worth the chance?
I was pretty confident that we had a good car in order to on the tires, and a nicer car than them, but actually I think I overdid it a little bit. So then I paid the price in the first stint. Second and third stint we were really fast, but that wasn't enough.
You sounded quite frustrated on the radio at the end. What are your frustrations today?
It's okay. I mean, every time there's this kind of frustrations, obviously there's not the background for everybody, and it's there's just no need for me to go into details of everything that's discussed. So I won't go further more into that discussion. Frustrating, yes. However, it doesn't change anything for the team. It's a bit frustrating for the drivers. The second place is always nice, but at the end of the day, it's okay. I think I did my part on the first stint. Obviously, when I had the tires that were completely gone, I didn't want to fight at that point, so I let Carlos by, and then yeah, the rest is we'll discuss it within the team, but I don't want to go into details.
So do you feel like the team favoured Carlos today and you had a better opportunity?
No. It's not about favouring one or the other. It's about things that we have been told and that weren't respected, but that's all good. Again, I don't think I've already said too much, so I don't want to go into the details and whatsoever, but it's just frustrating when it's like this, and it's been frustrating for me, but I can understand that nobody understands that.
Carlos has been told to not overtake, but it's really close. He might be just in front.
He wasn't a happy camper. We've seen the transcript of what he said over team radio, and it was effectively along the lines of this kind of thing happens all the time, and it's, you know, I'm getting, done over, I suppose, is where I can say.
It's just a weird race, wasn't it? Like, he hit the cliff on the tyres.
We'll come back to it. Can we have a walk with you, Max? Can we say congratulations? Many congratulations. I mean, I know you're still going to be way up there in the clouds somewhere, but 4 in a row. How does this compare to the others?
You know, honestly, what is beautiful, I think, is that all of them have been different, but this one has been very challenging in the middle of the season, and I'm very proud of how we handled it as a team throughout the year, you know, to still come out on top at the end.
Max, I want to ask you, you were saying, for me, races like Barcelona, where it didn't look like you were the quickest car, Imola, those were so important, I think, for you to secure the championship. You know, now looking back, was that the case, or was it, you know, the early victories that you had the dominant car at that stage?
Of course, the early victories helped, but I think also many places where, you know, we took +7, it could have easily been -7, and then of course there's a big swing in points, and yeah, and then you know, I was very happy.
Was that a standout race? I'm trying to get to that
Brazil.
for you.
Yeah.
I was very happy that it was raining. Yeah, for sure. That was very crucial at the end of the year, but of course what I think it was very important for us was when it was not working. It pushed us all the way.
We did, but
yeah.
You earned it, and 4 World Championships. Now you beat my Senna guy.
And like you said, you know, before I could only win it in the fastest car.
Exactly.
This year has been a little bit different.
Well done.
Thank you,
I was going to say, just Max, just to bring that to reality, I mean, as you're saying, off the track this year, at times as sort of a fractured team, it felt at the start, but you managed to pull it together, and you seemed absolutely able to compartmentalise things and really focus on your job on the track. What was the key to that?
Just staying calm and work hard with the team back in the factory to try and understand our issues. You know, it's not been the easiest for us, but we're a strong team. I think we rarely make any mistake, and we really maximize most of our races.
Do you think, you know, if you look at everything from Miami onwards, where the form has been, you have not had the fastest car. If you started the season like this next year, do you think another championship on the cards, or do we think, as a collective, Red Bull have to have a car that's going to be quicker?
Well, I mean, naturally that will help a lot, but if you look at the whole season, even when all those tough races happened, they didn't really catch me a lot in terms of points. So I'm hoping, of course, that we gain a little bit of performance. That will make my life a lot easier. But I'm also very excited for next year, what we can do against others. But at the same time now, I'm just enjoying the moment.
I'll let you do that. Quick one on GP and what you guys are going to get up to this evening.
I mean, honestly, it's just a fantastic group of people that I'm working with. Of course, you hear GP the most on the radio, but you know, that whole group of people, you know, that are very close to me. We have achieved so much together, and I'm very thankful for them to be part of the team and what they have given to me. So
he's already got started.
This is already my third one. So.
I'll let you go. Thank you. Many congratulations. Mandy's the best driver on the grid, is he not?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's been the outstanding driver of the year, hasn't he? There's no doubt about it. If you had to rank the top 10 drivers, any of us would put Max as #1 for this year, isn't it?
I agree. Yes. I mean,
when he's at the front, he just disappears into the distance and gets the best out of it. Knows exactly what to do with the car, how to look after the tyres when he's in that position. But we've also seen the fighter. You know, when you saw Brazil fighting through the field, there was staggering.
In all situations, whether he's up or whether he's down, he manages to find a way, and just he has that incredible focus to be able to still perform no matter what is going on, even if the car is bad, even if there's drama off track, drama with something else, that he just brings it together. And at the same time, greatest driver, I mean, he has that edge. I think that's what so many of the greatest drivers have. They have that really, really aggressive edge that nobody really wants to mess with them.
I think if you look back at the year, Baku, he had a weekend where he didn't look like he was on form. You know, he's running around sort of 4th, 5th. And then that moment of road rage against Lando in Mexico. But apart from that, he's had consistency, which I don't think anyone else in the grid has had relative to their teammates. So I think that's been the absolute key, is just he doesn't make mistakes.
No. Yeah, and as he said, after his wins at the start of the year, they haven't actually caught him. He's pulled away. So
and because of that, I think, right? Like week in, week out, he's the one that you bet on to deliver the maximum potential of the car.
Is he going to have a new teammate next year?
I think they need it if they want to win the Constructors.
I think it would be a great decision, you know.
Yes, I think that would be a good decision.
Yeah. I mean, that's he got 1 point today, Sergio Perez. I don't want to finish on a low, so let's just finish it on that. Max is the world champion. Thank you, Jenson. Appreciate it. We're going to see you in Doha, aren't we?
You will.
And we're going to see you in Abu Dhabi, Danica, and that's it. We're not going to see you again. Sorry to hear that.
Gone.
Until next year, buddy.
Until next year. See you in Melbourne.
There we go. Fantastic. Right, next up, Ted's race notebook. Back next week for the Qatar Grand Prix. George Russell has won this race, but Max Verstappen is a 4-time world champion. From us all here. Bye-bye.